Hi guys, my name is Rebecca and I started this channel because I wanted to document our journey to trying to conceive. I am 34 and my husband is 35. This would be my first time, and my husband does have two boys from previous marriages. He had no problem. They got pregnant right away both times, so I'm pretty sure it was, if we're having difficulties, it's not from him, it's probably from me. I have had problems with my cycles for a long time. I started really early. I was probably in 5th grade, probably around 9 or 10 when I started, so I was pretty early when I started. But they've been pretty irregular since high school. Real heavy, bad cramping, just sort of a thing. I was off and on birth control pill for quite a while. But I had gastric bypass surgery a year and a half ago. Almost a year and a half ago. In August it was a year. So we could not get pregnant for at least the first year. So in July we went off the birth control because August is the anniversary, and I figure it would take a month or so for it to kind of get out of my system, and we'll go from there. With me being 34, I didn't want to wait a whole lot longer because I know the older you get, the harder it is, and the more risks there are. So we went off the pill in July, and I went off at the middle of the month and immediately had a period, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, you go off the pill and your body does all sorts of funny things. A couple weeks earlier than normal, but that's fine. So I had two periods that month. One in the middle of the month and one at the end where I usually have it. It was pretty regular when I was on the pill, of course. Then in August, I didn't have it. It was like about a week after it was supposed to come, I had like a 3 or 4 hour spotting, but nothing like normal. So I thought, well, maybe it's the implantation. They say you may bleed a little bit if you if I get pregnant and it implants. So I thought, well, let's see. So I held off a little while. Did a few pregnancy tests. They were negative. I thought, well, it's probably just the pills messing up the cycles. Not a big deal. Keep going. Feeling a little off. So I thought, well, let me just keep testing. Maybe it's just not showing yet. Because I have heard of family members where when they were pregnant, it didn't actually get a positive testing till later for some reason. It didn't show on the pregnancy test. So I don't know if that's a hereditary thing or not. Anyway, so I have so nothing in August, but like a one-dayer. September went by. I was kind of feeling off, nauseous at times, a little cranky, more than normal. Which I'm not really that much very often, but apparently it was more than I was, because my husband mentioned it a couple times. You're kind of cranky, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Anyway, so I did that. September, nothing came either. So I was like, well, that's very odd. And booked an appointment to get into the OB. They came and they had to cancel on me. Somebody went into labor, so I didn't get to go. Booked it again for a week later. Went in on the 7th of October. He was going to do a full exam, check everything out. He did a pregnancy test there. It came in negative. He was feeling around, and he's like, oh, well, let's hold off a second. And this is the first time I've gone to this OB, so I was a little disappointed, I have to say, because my OB moved to Tennessee, so I pretty much lost her. And so I was trying to find a new one, and this guy came highly recommended, very popular. So I thought, okay, it was hard to get in, so I assumed and he very well may be great at what he does, but I just had a hard time because with this being my first time, he didn't talk a lot about what was going on. He didn't explain things to me. He didn't, he's not, I don't know. Anyway, so he was doing a physical exam and feeling around, and he's like, oh, well, let's hold off on the pap smear for now, and I want you to have an ultrasound, inner and outer. We found a mass about the size of a grapefruit. And he's saying this all very nonchalantly, and I'm thinking, he's joking, he's not serious, right? So I'm waiting for the punchline, or I'm waiting for him to, because I mean, the way he was saying it, it was very soft and very, like it was no big deal, and da 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 da, and then I look at him and I'm like, you're serious? It's like, oh yeah, there's a mass there. We need to find out what it is, and it's about the size of a grapefruit. I'm gonna have you do some blood tests real quick, and we'll have you come back in a couple of weeks after you get the results. I'm like, okay. So I mean, a grapefruit-sized mass is pretty scary, and so I'm like, all right, let's go ahead and get this scheduled. So I scheduled the ultrasound. They did an inner and outer ultrasound on the they did that on the 15th of October, and then I had my scheduled appointment to see the doctor on the 22nd. So they did that, and and then I've had a period for 2 months still. I'm thinking, this is really odd. He said I'm not pregnant. There's no proof of that, but he did find a mass. And so I'm thinking, wow, that's odd. Well then, a couple days before I was supposed to go back to get the results from the doctor on the 23rd, or 22nd? 22nd of October. On the 19th of October, I started my period. And just blood, the 19th, 20th, the 21st, and then by the time I went on the 22nd, it was pretty much done. I mean, it was barely anything. I had one pad on all day long, and it was just, it was just barely spotting at a time. So I go in, and first we're just going in to get the results, and so they put us in his office, so we're actually in a room. And I walk in, and he starts reading from this chart, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, we'll do this, and this, and then I'm like, are you sure that's my chart? Because you were saying I had a grapefruit-sized mass, and now you're saying it was something else? And he looks, he goes, oh, hang on a second. So he gets up and he goes out and gets a different chart and comes back in, and he's like, oh, okay, here's yours. Blah, 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 blah. He's reading the chart, blah, 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 what the results were, and he's like, okay. So it looks like you had, you must have ovulated, and that's why I was feeling what I was feeling. You had some cysts on your ovaries, which is standard when you ovulate. What I probably felt was right before, and it apparently is ruptured, so it's no longer a problem size. You had one on each side, so that's probably what I was feeling was the collective between the two. And so I'm just kind of like, okay. He goes, so they're not bad size, they're below problem size, so we're going to continue with getting pregnant. So I'm going to write you a prescription for 100 milligrams of clomid, and you come back and see me in a month and see if you're pregnant. I'm like, okay, all right, that easy? He's like, yeah. I said, nothing else I need to know? Nope, just take it for 5 days. On day 5, what day, you're on your period now, right? I said, yeah. I go, how long have you had it? So Saturday. He goes, okay, so get this filled, start taking it tomorrow, take it, it'll be 5 through 9 days of your period, and then you can start, have relations, and then we'll see what happens next month. I'm like, okay. I mean, like I said, this is my first time ever trying to conceive. I assumed, being as naive as I am, I guess, that it would just happen naturally, But they, because of my age apparently or something, they wanted me on clomid. So I thought, well, okay. Well, I get home, I'm doing all this research, and it's more detailed than he's really giving me. And I'm like, okay, I've already started taking this stuff, so I'm going to take it this round. But I'm definitely looking for a different doctor, because I need someone who can talk with me, walk me through the process. I mean, don't get me wrong, I researched this high and low now, and I'm starting to do the temperature thing, and I've got the ovulation tests, and so all these things I'm starting, but I guess I want a doctor that's a little more forthright, who's going to walk you through it and not double book himself and make you sit for 3 hours and not give you any information. So, I mean, I didn't even know when to have intercourse with my husband. I didn't know what days until I got home and had to research it myself. I mean, I had to look up clomid and find out you take it from such days, and then you have to, wait so many days and then start. And I was just like, my husband's like, I don't like him. He goes, even if you get pregnant, I don't want you. I think we need to find somebody else, because I just didn't even feel comfortable. And he's my husband is great. He's the kind of person that gets along with everybody. He's that person that can come up and walk up to anybody and say hi, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter who you are. He's talking to everybody. He didn't like him. And so I've got an appointment with another doctor on the 11th of November. So by then I will see if at least the clomid did anything. And then we'll go from there. But this is over 10 minutes, so I'm going to make a part 2. So if you guys are finding this, welcome to my channel, and if, hopefully I'll see you around and you guys can share your stories with me and I can share my stories with you, and, maybe we'll have new babies this year. Alright, have a great one.